I'm here with Steve Bolen, who's a candidate for delegate for District 9A. Thank you for coming out today.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you.
What do you think is the most important issue that you'll face in the next 4 years?
Well, there's quite a few things. I think we're at a crossroads in this country and in this state. There's issues with education, community development, healthcare, and the environment. And I'm a champion for all four of those. And let me explain what's going on, why we need to, especially this year, get out and vote if we want to make changes. As you know, the Commission on Innovation and Excellence in Education is wrapping up their report. That's the Kirwan Commission for people who are staying tuned. And that report, when it gets released, is going to shape the policy and legislation in our state for at least the next 10 years and beyond. So it's critically important that we elect people who are paying attention and who advocate for schools in our state. And I've been endorsed by the Maryland State Education Association. I have a passion for education. And so if I'm elected, when I'm elected, I will insist that we fully fund our schools in ways that are equitable, and those ways will come out in the Commission's report, and that we keep our schools safe, and we have to talk about tough issues too, and safety is one of them. And I'd be expecting to work in a bipartisan way to make sure our schools are safe. It's just not all one way or the other. We have to make sure we attract and keep excellent teachers for our children. And we have to make sure that we're providing our children with post-secondary educational opportunities beyond high school, scholastic, and vocational training to meet their needs so they can be successful in life. We have issues with development in this state, and I don't have to point to what's been going on the last couple of months around Ellicott City and elsewhere. But moreover, we have a population that's increasing. In Howard County, from about 2010 to about 2035, we're going to see a 14% increase in the number of people living here. And the number of people over 60 is going to lead the way in that population increase. And in Carroll County, which is where also some of my district lies, the rate of population expansion is not quite as much as Howard County, but we're going to see the number of people 65 and over double in about that same time span. So we're going to have to grow our communities, but that has to be done in smart and sustainable ways, right? And we have to respect the taxpayer while we're doing that, protect the environment, and preserve our agricultural heritage, which means that our infrastructure needs to keep up. Our roads, bridges, medical, health, first responders, fire, police, those kinds of services need to keep up. And we have to do that in smart ways. But here's the other rub. Our population is getting older, and they're going to need health care. We're all going to need health care. At some point in our lives, we're all going to need health care. So we have to make sure that we're controlling and managing health care costs in smart ways. And again, this is going to take nonpartisan, bilateral support to get this done, because there's no one solution that's going to fit everything or going to be right for everybody. So we're going to have to work across the aisle to make sure these solutions work for everybody. I am going to try to lead the way to make sure that we have a patient-focused healthcare system that emphasizes prevention, wellness, and chronic disease management. And it also needs to include mental health care and substance abuse care and affordable prescription drugs. And as a side note, as you might know, the opioid addiction or substance abuse in this county, we need to get a handle on that. There's a statistic out right now that's been released that 20% of Howard County has experienced 20% decline in the number of opioid-related overdoses, death overdoses. And that's the good news. Deaths are down from overdoses. But the bad news is that overdoses in general are up 20%. So we still have a lot of work to do in this area. And then and my last point here is the environment, the world we live in. And there's a saying that we don't inherit the world we live in from our parents, we actually borrow it from our children. And that's true. It's the world that we're going to hand down to them that we need to keep clean and in well and good working shape for them. And so I'm going to lead Maryland to building a renewable clean energy economy. I think we have the wealth in the state, we have the technology and industrial base to make it happen. And where there's a will, there's a way. And by gosh, let's have Maryland have the will to lead the way to the rest of the country to building a renewable, clean energy economy. It won't be just good for the environment, it'll also be good for our long-term prosperity. And I also want to work with our regional partners to keep and protect our vital Chesapeake Bay. So it's about education, it's about community development and healthcare, and it's about the environment. And those are going to be tough choices. I know people have choices at the poll, and we need to elect people who are going to be accountable to us and listen to us and look out for us on all those points.